So welcome to Biology World. So today we will be studying about animal tissue. So basically these are the tissue which are located inside the animal body, and there are majorly of four kinds. One is epithelial tissue, next is connective tissue, next is muscular tissue and nervous tissue. Okay. So we will be starting with epithelial tissue. So this is the tissue which acts as a covering or protective tissue for our body, and it is present all over the covering of our body. So the basic characteristic feature is that the cells which are present of epithelial tissues are tightly packed and continuous. Okay, as they're tightly packed, so there will not be any intercellular spaces. Okay, and always remember that this epithelial tissue separates from other membrane with the help of a membrane known as basement membrane. Okay, so in this picture everything is very clear. You all can see these are the cells which are present. These are the epithelial cells. Okay, and this structure which you see is a basement membrane. Okay, which is separated by the other membranes of the body. Okay, and this is the cytoplasm. Okay, these portion, and these are the nucleus. So the main thing here is that you all should know that the cells are compactly packed. You can see one after the other, and there is no intercellular spaces. And here the epithelial tissue is separated from other membrane by a basement membrane. Okay, understood? Next. So next comes to the function. So it covers most of the organs and cavities inside or within the body. Okay, it forms a barrier to keep different body systems separated. Suppose you see your alimentary canal. In alimentary canal, you can see that your stomach and intestine and pancreas and liver, they are so compactly present. Okay, so the epithelial tissue will act as a barrier to separate these all organs which are compactly present and stick to each other, but still yet they are separated. Okay, next, it also helps in regulating exchange of material between the body and the outer environment. So you can take our skin, which act as a epithelial membrane between the body and the outer environment. Okay, now you see the location of epithelium is it is present majorly all over the body, and so the example, the location is skin, then you have lining of mouth, then you have lining of blood vessels, your lungs, your kidney tubules and alveoli. Okay, so these are the major locations of the epithelial tissue. Next, so based on the location, if you see, we have three different kind of epithelium, that is squamous, cuboidal and columnar epithelium. So it's a very important epithelium tissue is present all over the body, and based on their name we can just remember them. Okay, so squamous always. So we start with squamous epithelium. So this is the first structure you all can see. The cells of the squamous epithelium, as you all can see, is very flat. Okay, and you see this green portion is a basement membrane, and over that only one single layer of epithelium, squamous epithelium tissue is present. And again the cells are very thin, flat, they are compactly present without any intercellular spaces. Okay, so that is the structure of the squamous epithelium. Next, if you see, is the cuboidal epithelium. So as the name suggests, cuboidal, cube. Okay, so the cells of this epithelium looks like a cube. You all can see here, they looks like a cube here. And majorly thing you all should know here is that the nucleus of the cuboidal epithelium is always present in the middle. Okay, here also you just see all together these all cells will be having nucleus in the middle, and again same, despite the cube structure, they all cells are compactly present without any intercellular spaces, and this is the basement membrane. Okay, so that is the structure of your cuboidal epithelium. Next, if you talk about your columnar, okay, so as the name suggests, columnar, so this suggests that the epithelium is made of a structure which looks like a pillar. Okay, so here you can see, you can observe a single structure of a cuboidal epithelium. You will see it looks like a pillar. Okay, so again, this structure, the cells of the structures looks like a pillar, like they are the pillar like. And what about nucleus? If you see here, nucleus is present at the base of the, majority nucleus are present at the base of the columnar epithelium. Okay. So next, this is about your columnar epithelium. So yes, now we'll come to a structure known as stratified squamous epithelium. So stratified squamous epithelium is nothing but a specialized case of squamous epithelium. Okay, so basically a squamous epithelium looks like this. But in special case, what will happen? So this generally takes place in your skin. So in your skin, what happens? The layers and layers of pattern of epithelial tissue is arranged. So you all can see the specialized structure of squamous epithelium, that in squamous epithelium only one layer you all can see. But here you see the different patterns of layer you all can observe. Okay. So this different pattern of layers form a squamous epithelium which is stratified, and the major location, this kind of stratified epithelium is majorly present in your skin. So only our skin provides a physical barrier for the entry and exit of the substances. Okay. So I hope you understood. This is a majorly squamous epithelium. This is cuboidal epithelium. This is columnar, and this is the special case of squamous epithelium that is stratified. We call it stratified because of the different patterns of layers present one above the other. Okay. Next. So here, same thing I have written down about squamous epithelium. So you all can see again here, this is simple squamous epithelium, and here when the layers and patterns of epithelium tissue is arranged one after the other, then it forms the stratified squamous epithelium. Okay. Next, the cells are thin, flat, delicate lining they form. Location, lining of blood vessels, your lining of alveoli and skin. Okay. What is the function? It protects from wear and tear. So basically we see that on the surface of the skin, okay, what will happen if some injury takes place, okay, or some other scratch will take place over the skin, what will happen? Then they just recover itself. Okay, so that is a major function of squamous epithelium, that it protects the body from wear and tear. Okay, next what you see, the stratified squamous epithelium, when the patterns of layers are arranged, and basically its location is your skin. Okay. So next we'll talk about your cuboidal epithelium. Here again, as I told you, it's a cube shaped structure. Okay, and nucleus is present in the middle, and location is lining of kidney tubules and ducts of salivary gland. Okay, and its function is it provide the mechanical support. Okay, so this is the major function and characteristic feature of cuboidal epithelium. So as we have a specialized structure of squamous, here also we have specialized structure from our cuboidal epithelium. So in this what happened? So you see here, this kind of epithelium is generally present in the salivary gland. What is the specialized structure? Your glandular epithelium. So this glandular epithelium is a specialized case of your cuboidal epithelium. So in this picture you all can see, this is the simple cuboidal epithelium where the generally your cube shaped cells are present. Okay, and the nucleus is present in the middle. So this is the specialized case. What will happen to the simple cuboidal epithelium? A hollow space is created here. You all can see it just have moved inward. The cells have just moved inwards to form a hollow space. And what is the use of this hollow space? This hollow space will be carrying some glandular or secreting substance. Okay? which will be coming out whenever it is needed. So what I told you, the glandular epithelium is present where? It is present in the salivary glands. So what is the function of salivary glands? Is to secrete saliva. Okay, from where the saliva is coming? From these secretory units. Okay, so please remember that the specialized case of cuboidal epithelium is glandular cuboidal epithelium, where your cuboidal epithelium just move inward to form a secretory unit. Okay, and then in this unit few substances will be stored and utilized whenever it is required, like it is present in the salivary gland. Whenever we need saliva, our body just secrete it from these secretory units. Okay, I hope you are understanding this. Next, we'll talk about your columnar epithelium. As I already told you, the cells are tall and pillar-like and nucleus is present at the base. What is its location? Its location is, it is present in the inner lining of intestine, and even it is present in the respiratory tract. Okay, and function is, it facilitates the movement across the epithelial barrier. And here one important thing you all should know, that what is the meaning of facilitates the movement across. Okay, that I'll tell you. So basically your columnar epithelium contains the cilia. So as of now we have talked about your stratified squamous epithelium and your glandular epithelium. Now we have the ciliated columnar epithelium, which is a specialized case of your columnar epithelium, where the cells of columnar will be having hair-like or cilia-like structure on the surface, which helps in movement of mucus in forward direction. Okay, so it plays a very important role in your respiratory tract. Okay, so what will happen? These are the simple columnar epithelium, but just look into these structures. So these structures are nothing but these are the cilia which is present over the simple columnar epithelium. And what is the function of these cilia? Is to help in movement of mucus in forward direction. So this plays a very important role in clearing the surface of the respiratory tract so that we can inhale all the gases properly. Okay, understood? So next we will talk about the connective tissue. So connective tissue are the loosely packed cells, okay, which are embedded in a intercellular matrix. Okay, so they are the loosely connective cells which is forming a connective tissue. Okay, they all are embedded in a intercellular matrix. And here the matrix can be anything. It can be a jelly-like, it is dense, rigid, fluid. Okay, so basically you all should remember we have 7 major type of connective tissue. Okay, so that is blood, okay, then your bone, then ligament, this is tendon, your cartilage, areolar and adipose. So in these you all remember this blood is very important because it is a liquid, your liquid connective tissue. Okay, or you can say it's a fluid connective tissue. Understood? Next one. So these are the structures of few connective tissues. So this first one is areolar, next is adipose, next you have cartilage, bone and blood. Okay, so here if you see your fibroblast, which is given in your green color structure, and along with the collagen fibers, which is your blue color structure. So these two cells or fibers combine together and perform a function of supporting the body tissues. So areolar tissue as a whole will help in providing support to the body tissues, and it also used to maintain structural framework of many tissues. Okay, so this collagen will also provide strength to the keratin which is present in the skin and act as a waterproofing and elasticity material. Okay, and these two more cells, which is macrophage and mast cells, will have the ability to provide strength and fight against the infectious pathogens which is entering from our skin. to inside our body. Okay, so basically these cells will restrict the entry of those pathogens. Okay, so next is your adipose tissue. So this adipose tissue consists of cells which has a huge which have a huge vacuole and which does the function of storage of fat. So these adipose tissue basically help in providing insulation during your cold weather or the cold conditions. So as these cells are even present inside the or they are present under the skin, due to which we will not feel much chilled during the cold weather because of the presence of these fat tissues under our skin. Okay, yes. So here if you see, the first one is cartilage. So these cartilage will be having which is made up of cartilage cells is known as chondrocytes. So always remember, the cartilage is a have a hard matrix. Okay, and this hard matrix made up of chondrocyte cells. These are nothing but cartilaginous cells and present in our nose, ear and backbone and provide a considerable strength. Okay, these are little elastic tissues. Okay, we can bend these cartilaginous tissue very easily, but not our bones. Okay, because bones are made up of cells known as bone cells or your osteocytes, which are very hard. So we cannot bend our bones easily, but we can do bending with the help of cartilage. Okay, so bone provides a very much strength to the body and it also supports the muscular structure. Okay, and here if you see, this is the components present in the blood. So this is your RBC, that is red blood cell, WBC, white blood cells, and these are the platelets. About these I'll discuss in the next slides. Okay, so first, we'll talk about blood. So blood, obviously, I told you it's a fluid matrix. It consists of two portions. You all should remember. One is liquid portion, which we call plasma, and other one is formed elements, which consist of RBC, WBC, and platelets. Okay. Next, so plasma is a fluid structure, consists of salt, proteins, and hormones. And what is the function of RBC? RBC is red blood cells which contain hemoglobin and transport oxygen and your carbon dioxide. Basically, it helps in transportation of gases. Okay. WBC, it fight against the pathogens. These are the white blood cells, and platelets help in clotting of the blood. So basically, all three functions I have written down, that this blood flows and help in transport of gases, digestive food, your hormones and waste material to different parts of the body. Understood? Next. So next, yeah, these are the just simple representation of the RBC, WBC, or basically you should say the blood, so that you will understand that which is plasma. Plasma is at this backside little liquid portion, and all these three cells are present inside it. Okay, as a formed elements. Next, if you talk about bone, so bone has a hard and dense matrix. Please remember, blood has the liquid matrix and here the bone has a hard and dense matrix. These matrix are very important, and bone basically made up of calcium and phosphorus, and it is non-flexible. Okay, and it forms the framework and support the body, and it also anchors the muscle. So basically you all should know that they anchors the skeletal muscles, because all the skeletal muscles are anchors along like with your bone. Okay, remember this point. And also support the main organs of the body. As you all can see, we have a ribs. Okay, the ribs are supporting your main organs like your lungs and your heart. Then you have backbone, which is again made up of bone and protecting your spinal cord. Okay, so next, you see here it's again a diagrammatic representation. So this is your bone, which is anchoring along with your skeletal muscle and performing all the functions. Okay, next we'll talk about ligament. So ligament is an elastic tissue. Okay, the matrix is like hard. Okay, next it provides the considerable strength, and its main function is to connect two bones. So always remember, your ligament connects two bones. Next we talk about your tendon, which again a dense and hard matrix, and its function is to connect muscle to bone. And here you should remember that it has a great strength but limited flexibility. Why? Because it is connecting your muscle to bone. Okay, so strength should be more but flexibility is limited. Understood? So here also the same thing is given. So this is your ligament, and which is joining your two bones, bone 1 and bone 2. Okay, here also same thing, these are your skeletal muscles. Okay, and which is combining with the other bone with the help of the tendon. Okay, so always remember, tendon joins muscles to the bones. Understood? Next, we'll talk about the cartilage. Again, the structure we have seen in the earlier or the previous slide, and it also has a solid matrix composed of protein and sugars, and it helps in smooth movement of joints. As you know, these are present in the ear. You see the diagram, they are present in the bone, the backbone, in between the joints. See, you should know that your full backbone is made up of bone, but one bone and the other bone is joined by a small cartilage here. Okay, so this cartilage also plays a very important role in formation of backbone. Next, here in your pelvic joint also it is present, so that it provides a proper movement of joints without breaking it. Remember that. Okay, what is this location? So function you got to know: smooth muscles of joints, smooth movement of joints and easy bending without breaking. And location is, it's present in the nose, your ear, trachea and larynx. Okay, next, same thing, we'll be talking about the adipose and areolar. So this adipose, what this adipose is doing, this adipose tissue is eating lot and lot fat, which is helping in providing insulation in the cold. And here your areolar help in supporting the internal tissue and also help in repair. Okay, the same thing I have written, location is between the skin and the muscles. Okay, and it fills up the space, supports the internal organs and help in repair. And areolar tissue have other different cells, 4 different cells, which I have spoke already about in the previous slide along with the structure. Next is your adipose connective tissue. This adipose is found again in below the skin, help in storage of fat and also act as a insulator. Okay, so we have completed all the 7 different kinds of connective tissue, and now we'll proceed to the different types of muscles. Okay, so basically based on the location here, we have 3 major kinds of muscles. So to talk about these muscles, I have made a very simple box with the help of which you can easily understand the location, the function, how the structure looks and all those stuff. Okay, the first we'll just try to see the structure. So you see this is a cylindrical and elongated structure of your skeletal muscle, and as already told you, the skeletal muscles are always attached with the bones. Okay, and so these muscles are basically present in the limbs, in your hands and legs, and perform the movement. Okay, and these muscles are also known as striated muscles because of the presence of striations. So these striations are nothing but black and white bands, which you all can see here, and these striations will help in proper movement, relaxation and contraction of the muscles. And here you see in one cell so many nucleuses are present, so you can say that these muscle cells are multinucleated. Okay, so next is our smooth muscles. The major structure of smooth muscle is spindle shape. What is spindle shape means? At the ends they will be tapering and in the middle they will be thick. So middle is thick, you see here, and the ends are tapering. So this structure is your spindle shape structure. And basically this one cell consists of only one nucleus, so we call it as a uninucleated muscle cell. Okay, and its function is to provide support to the organs like your internal organs like your stomach, your intestine, your alimentary canal, full, your liver. So in these cells, especially your organs, so all the organs are made up of your smooth muscles and they are very elastic in nature. Okay, next we'll talk about the third muscle, which is your cardiac muscle. So as the name suggests, what is the meaning of cardiac here? Cardiac means your heart. Okay, so these muscles are present in our heart and help in pumping of blood, and also the contraction and relaxation of the heart muscles. Okay, so here you see even these are your striated muscles because of the presence of these striations, which you all can see. These are the dark and the light bands, and these striations in between you see only one nucleus is present. So even these are your uninucleated muscle cells. Okay, so I hope you understood the location and the structure, and the other things will be talking in the next slide. So this box shows the difference between three muscles. Okay, so we'll talk about the structure. Structure, if you see, the cells are long and cylindrical, and in smooth muscles you see the cells are spindle shaped, which is pointed at the ends, and the middle they are very thick. Okay, and cardiac muscles, they are long and cylindrical. Next, what about the striations? You should know that only skeletal and cardiac muscle are striated muscles, and your smooth muscle is not at all striated. Okay, means it does not contain any dark and light bands. Okay, next is nucleus. Your skeletal muscle is the only multinucleated, rest your smooth and cardiac is uninucleated. What about the location? It is attached to the bones. Next, it is present in the iris of eyes, ureter, bronchi of lungs and blood vessels, and cardiac muscle is only present in your heart. Okay, next we'll see the type. What is the meaning of type here is, means either your muscle is voluntary or involuntary. The voluntary muscles are those muscles which are in our control. If we want to walk, we will walk. Okay, if we want to stand, we'll stand. So these things is only possible with the help of skeletal muscles. So please remember that the control, the functioning control, okay, the functions we can control of only skeletal muscles, but we cannot control the function of your smooth muscles and your cardiac muscle. If we want that our heart will stop pumping, that is not at all possible, because that is a involuntary action which is performed by involuntary muscle. Same in your smooth muscle. If you want that the food whatever you are eating, it should not be get digested, but it will not happen. It will happen in its own time. Okay, so always remember only one muscle is voluntary, that is your skeletal muscle. Rest two are involuntary muscles which are not in our control. Okay, what about the function? Function, if we see, it help in body movement. Next, smooth muscle help in movement of alimentary canal, help in contraction and relaxation and of the blood vessels. Okay, cardiac muscle function is to provide contraction, relaxation or pumping of blood. Okay, next the last thing we'll talk about is your branching. So you should know branching is skeletal muscles are unbranched, smooth muscles are only also unbranched, and the only muscle which is branched is your cardiac muscle, because in this muscle all the cells have to be connected with each other, so this branching is required. Okay, so always remember only cardiac muscle is branched muscle. Okay, so just a diagrammatic representation. Next, so next we'll start with our nervous tissue. So in this nervous tissue, we'll see these tissues are highly specialized for being stimulated and transmitting the stimulus rapidly from one place to the other. What is the meaning of being stimulated? It means that the stimulus is coming from the outside environment. It can be in the form of sound, it can be in the form of touch or any taste. Okay, so these stimulus are received by these nervous tissue, which are your neurons, and then transmitted to the brain. Then your brain will just think about it and then respond it by the other action. Okay, suppose somebody is telling you something, so that stimulus you will receive with the help of nervous tissue, and then your brain and spinal cord will interpret it, and then you respond it by your answer. Okay, same, understood? So this nervous tissue basically consists of your brain and your spinal cord. Okay, so these cells of tissues are known as neurons or your nerve cell. So always remember the structural and functional unit of nervous tissue is your neuron. which majorly consist of three parts. One is your dendrite, next is cell body, and next is your axon. Okay. So in this structure, you all can see properly, there are three different parts of neuron. Cell body consists of nucleus and cytoplasm. Okay. Next, you have dendrite, consists of a hair-like structure which help in requiring and acquiring the information. Axon is an elongated structure which help in transmitting the information to the nerve ending. So you see here, these structures are your dendrites. These structures are your dendrite which receives the signal. Okay, you all can see how it is receiving the signal from here. Next, you see this whole structure is your cell body, which consists of nucleus and cytoplasm. Okay, next, this is your axon. This is your axon. The whole thing is axon, the elongated portion, okay, which help in transmitting of information to the nerve endings. These are the nerve endings. Okay, understood? So here in this down diagram, you all can see how with the orange structure I am showing here with the pen, how it is entering through the dendrite, moving to the cell body, and then it is moving to the axon and to the nerve endings. So this is how the process takes place, that your dendrites will receive the stimulus, then it gives to your cell body where the nucleus will interpret it and then moves to the axon, and the axon will gives to the nerve ending. Then from there it will go to a next neuron. Okay, and this is how the transmission occurs, and it will reach to the brain, and then from the brain it will again come back and does its own function by responding it to by the other actions. Okay, so this is all about your three different parts of your dendrites. The same thing I have written here, that is help in receiving the signal. Okay, next, cell body consists of nucleus and cytoplasm and help in interpretation. Axon is an elongated structure and help in transmission of information from one cell body to the nerve endings. Understood? So I hope you understood everything in the animal tissue, and already the plant tissue slides I have shown you and made you understand. So this is the worksheet of your animal tissue. I hope you understood everything, so you will be able to do this worksheet properly. Okay, so please do it, and answers I'll be giving you in the next slides.